Her fiance's name is, hi, I'm about to go back on. Fallon's new, I think she's married now, right?
No,
Pull it up.
boyfriend.
See. Shira has to do like 5 different jobs for me. All right, give me the cue when to start the talk so I can be on. Your powder.
You ready? Now.
All right, and we are back. Okay, so now we're going to pick up where we left off. We're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about the Real Housewives of Atlanta. First, at the top of the segment, we want to say thank you so much for the 8 years that you have given us. Portia, who was on the Dish network radio show, she decided to sign off after 8 years. And I always thought that Portia was like the best thing to happen to that show. I liked it before, but I really liked it when she was on it. I wonder who they're going to replace Portia with. Have they already found somebody? I'm not quite sure. But in other news, you know that Portia's getting ready for her weddings. She's going to have a couple of, she's going to have a Nigerian wedding. And she's also going to have a regular, I don't know if you call it regular, non-Nigerian. Do you call it Christian?
American.
I don't understand. What do they call it? Western. Yeah. Nigerian wedding and a Western wedding. Good for you, Portia. Good for you. Way to meet your semi-social friend's husband and then pounce on him while you're at her house for 30 minutes. So wait, go. I don't think that's a good idea. I told y'all at the other segment, do not bring anybody around your man if he's worth anything. Some thought out there will take your man, but I'm not saying Portia's a thought. I'm just saying that there's some women out there that will take your man. So in this case, Fallon, who was married to, I guess, Portia's now fiance, they were, I guess maybe Portia was engaged to Fallon's ex-husband while Fallon was still married to him. Where they do that at? Is that an Atlanta thing? I'm not sure, but I never heard that was cool. I mean, I couldn't call myself walking around with somebody else's ring on talking about, this is my fiance. And then he's got a wife over there talking about, no, he's my husband. But anyway, we won't cry over that spilled tea because guess what? Fallon had decided to move on. I guess she decided, you know what, I've had all I can take. She was on The Housewives. If you all recall what happened, when she was on The Housewives and she had the Halloween party at her house, she had a costume party. She invited all the women over. The women were very rude. They acted like she should have had servers and servants and everything. And, you know, one of the women, I guess the lady, the newcomer on the show, she was brought on the show and then she was trashing the lady and her husband and talking crap about them. So maybe all of those nasty comments that wannabe housewife, I forgot her name. She wasn't that significant. I forgot her name, but maybe those same trashy comments, will she be hurling them at Portia's new about-to-be husband? I was about to say about-to-be husband. I don't know. But Fallon is now happily married.
Boyfriend.
Oh.
Pregnant. They were pregnant.
Oh. Is she fiancé?
No, just boyfriend.
Well, she's happily about to be another baby mama. You know what, ladies? Let me
It's
just tell you
her
something.
first child.
I don't care if it was her 10th child. Can we please stop celebrating, oh, I'm pregnant by my boyfriend? Can somebody out there, are rings too expensive now? Are engagement rings, wedding rings too expensive? Because, I mean, I don't understand why, if Fallon has an ex-husband, maybe the tea that Portia and her ex-husband were dropping was actually true about Miss Fallon. Because now let me tell you this. Because allegedly, Fallon was committing infidelity against Portia's now fiance when they were married. Did y'all get that? So Fallon says Fallon was allegedly cheating on her husband. During that whole time, she was allegedly having his back on the air, on TV. I guess that was all for show. And then Portia was like, I don't care. He needs to leave her. She was thotting around in the marriage anyway. He needs a good woman like me. Because we all know that Portia loves love and she loves to be faithful. Yes, ma'am. She's always faithful to people who are not faithful to her. And I hope Portia can now have a husband that will give her some loyalty, man. It's like, dude, where's all the loyalty? You got Amber Rose getting treated on by her baby daddy, by 12 women. You have Fallon cheating on her husband. And you have now Fallon's pregnant by a future baby daddy. And you have the Nivea's personal trainer cheating on his, was he married or was he just?
No.
Well, he was cheating on his baby mama, trying to make a new baby mama. I don't understand what's going on in the world today, but I thought I would just give you that tea because let's talk about celebrities who actually got down the aisle and did have a child. My super favorite girl in pink, Nicki Minaj. Yes, Pink Friday was one of my favorite albums of all time. I've always been a Pink Friday girl. I always thought that if there was a battle, Nicki Minaj set the pace for Megan Thee Stallion. Yes, she did. Be mad at you if you want to be. But Nicki Minaj and her husband, Kenneth Petty, are being sued. Yes, it's lawsuits against the husband and wives. Being sued by his alleged rape victim for harassment and intimidation. People.com is reporting that Nicki Minaj and her, what's her, Kenneth Petty?
Kenneth Petty, yes.
Well, we're going to be majoring in the petty this morning. So he allegedly raped this young woman, and this is when she was age 16 back in 1994. 1994, I know that to be 25 years ago, because that was what, no, that's 27 years ago. Is it 27 years ago? Yes. So that was when she was 16. She accused Minaj and her husband, a registered sex offender. You know what? Okay. Nicki Minaj, I know that you and Safari could not make things work. However, did you have to go from Safari to a registered sex offender? I mean, come on. He allegedly raped a 16-year-old, and now she's seeking unspecified damages, which usually means the millions. That's from my legal point of view. The lawsuit also accused the couple of intentionally inflicting emotional distress and alleged sexual assault and battery, referring to the 1994 incident. Now, Petty is 43 and Nicki Minaj is 38, and they say that they were directly and indirectly intimidating and harassing her. I guess, he also, Petty spent some time in prison. I'm not sure if it was for the sexual offense or if it was for the manslaughter. Yeah, I think I heard somewhere that he's an alleged former killer. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. How do you meet a guy that's a sex offender and an alleged killer? I mean, I hope I'm right. He's not really a manslaughterer, is he, Sherelle? Can we hope that I'm wrong about that? No, actually he is. Okay, well, there you go with that. So I guess maybe Nicki Minaj was feeling somewhat unsafe in her life, and maybe she felt like she needed a true gangsta to be married to. Now, they're a married couple. I don't know how they're going to come out of it. This is something to where I really don't have a lot to say. I'm going to keep it petty and say, Nicki Minaj, you signed up. You are still Pink Friday in my eyes. You are a woman that loves love, and I think that you fell in love with Mr. Petty. Maybe you knew about his past crimes, but, from what I gather from your Instagram and from your social media posts, you're saying because you're upset, you're probably going to be upset with me, Nicki, because you are upset with Wendy Williams for bringing up that Petty was a sex offender. But he is a sex offender, Nicki, and I don't know how we can shy away from the truth, my dear. That's the guy that you chose to marry. Unfortunately, we all choose our men. Maybe that's why. Maybe she should have just been a baby mama with that one. Maybe that's not what she needed to put on paper. And Nicki, do you have a good prenup, baby? Because I know you got coins, honey. You have coins. Let's talk about another sexual predator. Not. This is our Bob Dylan. Now you all know Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan, who kind of sings like this. He's being sued by a woman who alleges that he sexually molested and abused her when she was 12. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to this. The woman is now 80 years old. Is my math wrong? It might be wrong. Or she's 7 years old. Bob Dylan is 80 years old. And the woman, that was 56 years ago. Is she 67 years old now? Okay. I believe that all rapes, all sexual molestation of abused children, they should all be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Now, here's where my lawyer sense come in. Because if Bob Dylan asked to be represented by me, I was like, yes, Bob, I'll be your lawyer. I need a $150,000 retainer. Because I know you probably did it. But at the same time, I don't believe there are going to be a lot of witnesses. And if this woman has waited to come up and saying that this happened at the Chelsea Hotel apartment in 1965 after he gave her both drugs and alcohol, and now he's 80 years old and she's 56 years old, I kind of feel like Bob Dylan was 24 years old at the time, and if she's now 56, maybe she had a really good therapist for the last 40 years, but it's highly doubtful that that therapist could not have gotten her to confront her demons and go ahead and make a report. Because at this stage of the game, you're going to be hard-pressed to find a district attorney to try to take up a criminal charge when there's going to be hard time finding evidence, and it's basically a he said, she said. And unlike the Bill Cosby scenario, this may be a situation where they let it go all the way through a trial if a DA decides to pick it up. But at the same time, it may be thrown out on appeal by the Court of Appeals, just like Bill Cosby. Because see, Bill Cosby's hanging out with Camille. And I honestly believe, look, Lady, where was your mama during that time? Where were your aunties? Where were your friends? Where was your therapist? Did you get married? I want to know about your whole life because I'm not a victim shamer. I'm also not a defendant shamer either because I like to know all of the facts because you know what? Everybody's Me Too is not the same Me Too. I'm just saying. I talked a lot about the former governor. Isn't he about to be done with his 2 weeks till he's out of his office? Cuomo. You know, those Me Too's, some of them were Me Too'd in varying degrees. If somebody bends you over a table like Matt Lauer used to do and try to lock you into his office while you're up there in NBC daytime television, try to go pop you from the back, well, then that's a big Me Too. You know?
He filed for retirement to get his pension.
Who did?
Andrew Cuomo.
Oh, now you know what? Look at Andy. You know, Chris Cuomo, his lawyer brother, I think he graduated from Yale. Chris Cuomo probably advised his brother very well. You need to go ahead and get your retirement, big brother, because you need to go ahead and get your checks because the checks are going to stop coming.
It's a lifetime.
And it's a lifetime. See, that's why he had to give his 2 weeks to get the lifetime benefits. That's, you know what? Men always think like that. That's how men are. A woman would have been like, I quit. I don't want to deal with it anymore. Bye. I always say, don't do that. Figure out a way to sue their butts. Don't you quit that job. You better stay at that job and figure out, do you need to call Attorney Nyanza Moore so that we can go ahead and file some claims against them for sexual harassment and discrimination? What else do we need to file for? Preserve your claim. Don't quit your job like that. Go to Human Resources immediately and then call your lawyer. That would be me. So let me go ahead and let's talk about some more lawyering. Let's talk about dads, bad dads and good dads. Bad dad alert. There's a dad that dumped his daughter's last child support payment. This is Shady Daddy. I believe this daddy, was he in Georgia? I think he might have been in Georgia. His daughter turned 18 and he dumped 80,000 pennies in the driveway of her mama to make the last child support payment for his 18-year-old daughter. So he thought he was being shady to the mama, but really he was being shady to his daughter. I understand if you want to be a petty Betty, but you really shouldn't be dumping the pennies on the driveway for your daughter. I mean, first of all, pennies spin too, and all she needs is a wheelbarrow. She need to call an armored truck to go ahead and have them pick it up. But in other news, let's talk about good daddies. This good daddy was good at the beginning. Britney Spears' dad decided that he'll step down as the conservator when the time is right. Wasn't the time right? Was it 13 years? Well, 13 years ago, Jamie's attorney, Vivian Lee, said that in his new suit, her 69-year-old client filed for conservatorship 13 years ago when Britney was acting up. And Britney was a multimillionaire. Now, Britney is not acting up because she can't act up because she doesn't have any coins to act up with, but she does have an Instagram page that I follow. She did do a little dancing on there, but that's not a bad thing. Britney, is she 40 years old now?
I believe so.
Britney's, oh my gosh, Britney's 40? Wow. So he said he'll step down when it's time, but I really feel like, Daddy, you need to step down now. Being the conservator of an estate, when you take over everything and take away the rights of an able-bodied person, I'm not sure if Britney was dealing with drug addiction, opioid addiction, you know, there are different kind of drugs, or whatever she was on, or if she just had mental health issues that were causing her family to feel like she needed a conservatorship. But after 13 years, I believe it's the duty of the court to have an annual reexamination in the courts to determine whether or not the conservatorship is still necessary, and under the current circumstances, whether or not it's still viable. Because in this stage, I believe, and I'm not a mental health expert, I'm not a therapist, but I am an attorney and counselor at law. I believe that when your lawyer speaks up for you, and Britney Spears was able to hire counsel because before in her conservatorship, she did not even have the money or the permission to hire her own attorneys because she was not able to enter into her own contracts, even though she was 18 and above in age. So she basically was shackled by her daddy. Said, yeah, I'm going to use all your money for my own benefit. I'm going to hire lawyers to help me get your money, Britney. I'm going to hire lawyers to help me keep your money for whatever I want to. I'm going to hire lawyers to make sure that I stop you from being able to have a child. Yeah, they kept her on preventive, fertility prevention measures to make sure she wouldn't have any more children. Yeah. So Daddy might have meant well at the beginning when she was buzzing her hair and beating up reporters in cars with an umbrella, but I really don't think there's a need for her to have a conservatorship now. And her ex-husband, whack Kevin Federline, decides to come out with a statement saying that she does not need her conservatorship terminated. First of all, Kevin, shut up. Number one. Kevin Federline, you were a dancer. You were not a stripper. You were a dancer who was able to get Britney to think that you were just the cutest, hottest thing in the world. You got her to marry you in Vegas when her mama didn't really want her to do that. Then you had her pop out a whole bunch of babies, became a baller, took a bunch of money from her, and then she was paying you hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then you took the kids from her. So Kevin, shut up. You just want to make sure you get that money back. Everybody that has their hands in the pocket should not be able to have a say in whether or not her conservatorship gets to stand or go. So if you don't have your hands in Britney's pockets, raise your hand. That would be everybody who's black. Just thought I'd stick that in there. So bad daddy Jamie Spears is thinking about to step off when the time is right. Step off now, Daddy. You need to figure out another way to make a paycheck. You and her little sister, who decided to come out with her own life story about her experience with her sister. Come on now. The whole entire family is building their wealth on one person who they've managed to seize all control and power from. If this ever, let me tell you, Free Britney is not just a hashtag. There needs to be some lawsuits filed against all of these money grabbers that have been siphoning off her millions. We need a financial accounting of all the money that's been spent that belonged to Britney Spears, that was spent by her mama, her daddy, and her sister, and her haters, and Kevin Federline, and her former managers, and those lawyers representing the daddy that decided it was a good idea. Oh, that's right. The lawyers decided to take themselves off the case when Britney said, I don't want you anymore. Looks like they should have been off a long time ago. Why didn't those lawyers ever file those motions, 10 years, 11, 9 years ago, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, saying Britney wanted the conservatorship removed? Those lawyers are whack. I want to find out who you are. But in other legal news, we're going to talk about who?
Commercial.
Well, we got to go to commercial break. Can we ever have a show without commercials? No, this is how we pay the bills. Love you all. See you on the next segment. Now, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen out there, I really want to talk a lot more about Britney, because when you have a conservatorship, all power is taken away. Somebody tells you what time to get up, what time to go to bed. They were trying to force Britney to do performances that she didn't want to do. They're like, basically, jump, dance, twerk when we want you to twerk. Go on Instagram, post when we want you to, but we want to make all the cash from it and give you an allowance. Ladies and gentlemen, if I'm the only one working, I'm not going to be getting an allowance for my own paycheck. I'm sorry, those lawyers need to be suspended for not bringing up their clients' claims against the daddy. Anyway, I got to break up this segment. This lighting is very dim over here. Why are we so dark on our... Ooh, we're going to move our IG light over here. This is better. But I'm going to have more news for you. What do y'all think about that Fallon story in Portia? I don't like that. Don't come to my house and then meet my husband at the Halloween party, and then I see that your butt is dating my husband. Hello? Because I'm going to come over there with that firepower, and you're not going to like it. I don't mean fireworks. I'm talking about firepower. Because guess what? I can always play crazy and have an excuse. I'm just joking. It's all in good fun. I'm not going to come with that firepower. I'm going to come with that legal power. I'm going to take all the money. Bye, everybody. Actually, I'm going to come with that firepower. Fire it up in the courts. Bye. Did y'all like that last segment? I hope you did. There you go. Time for the next.